Let's keep it going on the phones here. We got just a little bit of time. We're getting Lieutenant Governor Josh in a few minutes, and we also got to do news. But I wanted to bring Senator Clynt Ridgell on because, good morning, Senator.
Hi, good morning.
By the way, congratulations.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
I saw that Father's Day announcement, so your third baby on the way. Yeah, like Bree said, congrats.
Thanks. Yeah.
Now on to official business. So you had a bill, and just tell us about the bill you had, because we had talked with Dr. Shea about testing tourists and airport testing. So just go ahead.
Yeah. So as you were speaking with Dr. Shea, and I agree with him about how we should be testing people at the airport. So actually, myself and a couple other senators were working on legislation. Senator Pito Terlahi and Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes. And it would require testing at the airport, but basically, a lot of members of the tourism business industry community came out strongly against it. We met with some of them. Specifically, it's Mike Israel, Mark Baldiga, even the head of the United Airlines here on Guam. Mm-hmm. We had a meeting with them, and they all basically told us that it was a horrible idea, that it would chase tourists away. We wouldn't have any tourists come here. It was unnecessary. All we need to do is do temperature checks at the airport. They basically slammed us, and said that we didn't know what we were talking about, and we don't know anything about tourism, so we should leave it to the experts. And so I talked to Dr. Shea about this, actually, because I didn't know that he was a proponent of this idea as well. I was actually looking for a doctor that would come out and say that this is something we should do, because that was sort of the other reason we were stuck. They were kind of saying that we're not medical experts, we're not doctors, neither are we tourism experts, we're not, so leave it to the experts to do this. So we kind of backed off and said, all right, fine, I guess, So I kind of wish that I had known Dr. Shea supported this idea in the beginning. I just never spoke with him about it. I was actually looking for a doctor, but I wasn't sure who would be in support of this idea until I started hearing Dr. Shea talking.
There's actually a few of them, Senator. Hold on, sorry. We're KUAM FM, Agatni Guam. Again, it's the KUAM News Takeover of Containing COVID. We're now live on KUAM on TV 11. Good morning! And also to our Facebook Live viewers on the Edward R. Murrow award-winning social media networks of KUAM and right here on the radio. On the line now, Senator Clynt Ridgell. We're discussing COVID-19 testing at the airport. He had a bill that was basically crucified by members of the private sector, and part of it was they said, oh, we don't have any medical input. And so now you're saying that if only you had spoke with Dr. Shea, who is now pushing this same idea in a chain email that he sent out to a bunch of people.
Yeah, I think it would have helped, because we would have at least had a medical expert be able to weigh in on it and talk about the importance of it. So unfortunately, I didn't know he was the proponent of it back then when we met with them. So we basically pulled back and said, all right, forget it. So the biggest issue they were saying is that it would just totally kill any chance of any tourists coming here, and that it was unnecessary, and that all we need to do is do like temperature checks at the airport. So, yeah, I mean, I do think it's something we should definitely reconsider. So, I mean, especially in light of what Dr. Shea is saying, in light of the airmen or whoever they are in the military that tested positive. So, if we want to prevent a second wave from coming to Guam, I don't really think we ever had a first wave, but I think that's actually because we did great with the measures we had that we put in place quickly, wearing of masks in public, all the measures that we put in. I think that prevented a major first. We didn't really have much of a first wave, and I think that's a testament to the procedures we put in place island-wide. So to prevent, a real wave from coming or any other wave from coming, I think we have to think about these kinds of things, about how do we test people at the airport, and how do we, I think also contact tracing is a very important issue too. It's something else we're also working on as well at the legislature. I'm working on some legislation with some of my colleagues to do to help figure out how we can improve contact tracing. I do think public health's been doing a pretty good job with contact tracing, but it's a lot of work, and you need a lot of people to be able to do it. They're even talking in the States about increasing contact tracing efforts there. And it's what we see in our source markets for tourism.
Right.
And all our source markets in Asia, they're very good about contact tracing. They're used to downloading apps to their phones that sort of show them where they've been. Dr. Shea was talking about having tourists check in and say every place they've stopped at so that we can contact trace if they do turn out to be positive later, if they develop symptoms while here, that we can contact trace by seeing, having them report every place they went to or shopped at or ate at. There's apps now that you can download that do that, and they do that in a lot of these countries like South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan. So I think these are things we definitely need to start thinking about as we look to reopen the economy.
Well, we were talking a lot about the airport. What have you heard anything about why Tom Atta resigned?
I have not a clue, no idea.
It was pretty
First I heard
abrupt.
about it was when it was reported in the news. I think the news broke last night. Sometime.
Yeah.
It wasn't even. I'm not even the one who saw that. My wife was online, I guess on Facebook, and she's like, "Hey, did you see this?" So that's the first I heard.
Oh yeah, I did, honey. Of course I saw that. Yeah. Tom resigned.
No, I didn't. I had no idea.
Yeah. That's...
Well, what are you hearing though? I saw you were up early. So did you get any calls about it, or any talk about a replacement?
No, I haven't heard anything about it. And and also the airport is not my I don't have oversight of the airport, so it's not really usually if you have oversight, then that's something where they may call you from the administration and say, hey, there's going to be a new person or whatever.
My bad. You have oversight of the port, right?
Right.
Okay. So is the airport, that is Vice Speaker, is it?
Correct, yes. That's
Okay.
Vice Speaker Nelson. So maybe she might have heard something, but I haven't.
Okay.
I just got chewed out again.
What's that?
Hey, there's a port
I'll tell
and
you
an
if I heard
airport.
something. I have.
Where are we then with your recreational marijuana, your law?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the last time we spoke? Okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, so the Cannabis Control Board is close to finishing it. They basically, things got put on hold because of coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped meeting. So I've been talking with them, with the members, and working with them to try to figure out how they can continue to meet again, but this time, via Zoom and other methods. So one of the things they have to do is they also have to hold a public hearing on the proposed rules and regs. So
Right.
they're almost done with it, and then once they release it, then they have to hold some public hearings for it, and that's before it even makes its way to the legislature. So my understanding is they're very close to finishing it. They just need to have a few more meetings to kind of wrap it up, put out the final thing, and then they're trying to figure out how to do, public hearings with COVID, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm working with them to figure that out because there are some procedures that we use at the legislature, to do public hearings for bills that we've started implementing. So I'm going to help them out with that and share some of the stuff that we do. So hopefully they can get back on track quickly and get that going, because that also ties into, I think, the economy and tourism. I've spoken with some people who believe wholeheartedly that cannabis tourism would really entice tourists to Guam, even during a pandemic. In fact, they think that those are the type of tourists that would be more willing to come here for something that they can't get in their home country,
Right.
and be willing to come here during a pandemic because they know they can enjoy.
The stone don't
legal
stop.
these
I like that. What do you think, Sabrina?
What's that?
The stone don't stop. Come to Guam.
Stone don't stop.
No, yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, Senator. Is as we start to stand up tourism on however many legs it's going to have. I think having that weed option in our pocket is a good one. The more, the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's definitely like sort of a novelty that would attract tourists here. I mean, because right now we've got to attract tourists, but also we got to make sure that they believe Guam is safe. That they won't get coronavirus coming here, traveling here, that we've got everything in order here, and at the same time we got to give them a reason why should they risk traveling during these types of events, because it's happened with SARS before. We saw tourism downturn on Guam with SARS, and we didn't even have any SARS cases on Guam that I can recall. I don't think we had any SARS on Guam, but we still saw a loss in tourists. And my understanding, the reason for that is because during these types of outbreaks or pandemics or whatever you want to call it, that the tourists tend to shy away from airports because airports are generally crowded places. So they don't want to go travel and mingle with a bunch of people who are transiting through from other countries. And so, they kind of shy away from the airports. And you actually see it worldwide. Travel is down worldwide. Tourism across the globe is suffering right now. So we have to find a way to entice tourists and give tourists a reason to even want to travel to Guam.
I just got something here, Senator. Santorini in Greece is opening up with required random testing. They get 2 million tourists a year.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I also think Hawaii is working on something similar, but I got to double check on that. But I think Hawaii may be working on a similar type of thing.
Let me just ask you, because we're getting Lieutenant Governor in just a couple minutes. Do we need to move back the date of the tourism reopening, or do you think, hey, well, let's just open, nobody comes, big deal, at least we're just open?
Actually, I think we should stick with the date. Yeah, we got to reopen. I mean, our numbers are actually very good, except for the spike from the military side. I've been, sort of tracking the numbers pretty religiously since the whole outbreak began. And the numbers look good. I mean, we increased. Normally, when you increase testing, like President Trump says, you're going to see more. In fact, he's recently quoted saying that they should stop testing because they saw too many numbers, right? Yeah. We didn't see an increase in numbers. In fact, quite the opposite. We saw it we would test 100 some people and it'd be 0. Or now, every now and then, it's 2 or 1. And those are low numbers. Compared to before, we were testing, there'll be 5 positive, 7 positive, 8 positive, with a smaller batch of tests, with less people tested. So I think our numbers are great, except for the spike due to the military. But I think as long as we properly contact trace and isolate that, then we'll be fine. And that's going to be the key going forward, is quickly finding these little outbreaks here and there, if that's the correct word. I'm not sure what's the correct medical term, but these little areas where there might be a little cluster of COVID, finding it quickly, identifying it, contact tracing it, and isolating. I kind of use this analogy. It's like having little fires break out around the place, and you got to kind of identify the fire quickly, snuff it out before it spreads. And as long as we do that, then I think we'll be fine.
All right. Thanks, Senator Ridgell. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, just, stay safe. And, like Chris always likes to say, wash your hands.
All right. Thanks, Clynt. Take care.
Thank you.
Tell Teresa said hi.
I will.
All right. Take care. All right. So obviously he's not the chair of the
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. I mean,
hopefully we can get the vice speaker.
It's one thing to mess up, but to mess up at that level